Hello my lovelies and welcome to today's video. I hope you're all doing really well. Today's video is going to be my monthly book club, so this is where I talk about the top 5 books that I've read this month and tell you all about them. Please excuse my overexposure, the weather's really odd today, so it's sort of sunny, but then we've got weird like sheet clouding, so it's messing with my lighting. But anyway, I will, as always, at the end of this video, I will list all of the books mentioned down below and where I buy mine from. I buy most of my books either in charity shops, or if I do buy them online, I buy them from a website called World of Books, which I will link their website down below. And I will also link all of my other social medias, my Instagram, my Twitter, my Snapchat, and also my blog. There is written content on my blog every Wednesday and every Sunday, and there is new video content here every Tuesday, every Thursday, and every Saturday. So I'm just going to jump straight in and just explain something to you guys. A couple of months ago, I went to my mum's, and my mum was sorting out some old storage and stuff in my old bedroom, and she found a load of books from when I was younger, when I was a teenager, and so I wanted to reread them before I sent them to charity, etc, because I always do that with my books. If I've got a book that is not part of a collection, I then send it to charity so other people can enjoy it, which is awesome. So yeah, I kind of have been reading a lot of books from my childhood my teenagerhood this month. So the first one that I want to mention is I have read all 3 of the trilogy this month, but I only have 2 of the books here, 1 and 3 to show you. I don't know where the other one's gone. I think I probably put it in a bag for charity, and it's a book called City of Shadows by Celia Rees. Now, the trilogy is based on a group of children, one of who is sensitive and can see like ghosts and stuff like that. And there's a lot of it's basically the thought that there are 2 parallel worlds. There is a ghost world and there is a living world, and the 2 at certain times can combine. It also involves the She, and if you don't know who the She are, they are sort of Irish fairies from myth and legend. They're not that nice. They use sort of magic and trickery to get what they want. And basically in this one, they go on a ghost walk and they find sort of like this underground city. It's called the Room of Ceremonies, underneath the old courthouse, and bad things are afoot. So it's really good, especially for young adult readers. If you're into fantasy, this is probably a good place to start, because they're very easy to read. I have found a lot of the time with fantasy books, they can get quite convoluted and quite complicated. These do not. So these are really good for starters or beginners who are starting to read fantasy, and I would highly recommend them. And the 3rd book in the trilogy is this one. This is called The Host Rides Out, and this is more about the fairy side of things. And basically the fairy princess has taken quite a shining to the protagonist in the book, and has decided that she wants to steal him, sets up all of these magics, and nearly does it. He nearly becomes a part of the She, but he gets saved, and so all is good. But yeah, so this focuses more on the fairy side of the story, whereas the 2nd book focuses on again more on the ghosts and what could happen if somebody from the ghost world tries to make it in here when they shouldn't, sort of deal. So there's those 2. Now, just to tell you a little bit about me, I was a very strange child. I was not what you'd call sociable. I'm still not now, but I wasn't what you'd call a sociable child. I wouldn't really play with other children very much, and during my summer holidays, most of my time was spent in my local park, sitting under my favourite tree, reading books. Now, a passion of mine from childhood, and even now it's still a passion, is history. And my mum was a big advocate of children learning in a way that's fun. She's always been that way, and she knew I was a big reader, and she knew I loved history. So one of the first steps that she made was actually she got me the Horrible Histories magazines when that was a thing. So I had loads of these magazines, and obviously Horrible Histories, as I'm sure you know, is all about the proper dirty, nasty side of history. And she was out one day and she found this, and this is The Very Bloody History of Britain by Farman. And this was a book that, as you can see, it's been very well thumbed. This was a book that I really enjoyed as a child, because it is from literally cavemen up to World War II. So it covers all of that part, like basically all of English history, all of British history, covers all of the old Saxon kings, but it gives it's very funny, and I think for adults, because obviously I read it as a child, it was interesting, but now as an adult I can understand some of the humour behind it. So there was one about one of the British politicians, and they had to do something or another to get themselves out of and it was gap and then ambles. So obviously as a child you'd be like, oh okay, shambles, yeah, like a mess, fine, but as adults you kind of go, out the shit, probably is what he wanted to say, but knew he was writing it for children, so couldn't. So it probably does appeal to a lot of people. And it's like on the back here, it's get the lowdown on life from the heathens to Hitler. Bizarre and balmy and almost beyond belief, the very bloody history of Britain tells you all the really interesting facts that no one ever told you in a history lesson. For instance, why the Celts got the best girls, who had his portrait painted after he was dead, and who planned the first Channel Tunnel. So it's a very interesting book for children and adults alike. So again, I think if you are into history, this is probably a good place to start, because it's almost like a comprehensive listed guide. Again, it doesn't get convoluted, it doesn't go too deep into one topic and not into others. It's just a really good way to start. Okay, and another book from my childhood, and this is one I never read as a child. I think I picked it up in a charity shop and just kind of stored it and never got rid of it. And it's a book called My Sword Hand is Singing, and it's by an author called Marcus Sedgwick. And I think it must be part of... Oh no, I stole this one from the library, the school library. And so yeah, basically it's part of a set, and I don't actually know how many books are in the set, but it's part of a set, and it is based in, I think, Romania, Ukraine, somewhere like that, around the Caucasus Mountains, and it's about the undead and vampires. And this is about there's a young lad who has always been on the run as far as he is concerned. His father and him, ever since his mother died, have always been wandering around the countryside, finding jobs. They're woodcutters, so they're wandering around the countryside, ending up in villages, and they end up in this one village, and bad things start happening, people start dying, people start going missing, and no one's really sure what's going on. They've all gone in sort of mysterious circumstances and nobody's really sure. And basically he learns that his father fought for the king and was actually very good at killing these particular beings, and he had he had a special sword. And at the end of the book, basically everybody's found out what's going on. They're all against these things, and his father sacrifices himself so that the young lad can get his sword, get in there and kill all the beings. So it's fantasy, but it's quite easy to read. It's not very convoluted. I mean, it took me like 2 days to read it. It's not convoluted. It's not, it's not fussy. There's no unnecessary bits of the book that you can avoid, if you know what I mean. So, and book number 5, finally, I returned to adulthood, and my mum actually gave this to me, and it's a book by Phillipa Ashley, and it's called Summer at the Cornish Cafe. Now, this author is very much in the same vein of people like Carol Matthews, Jill Mansell, that kind of deal. It's sort of, a woman ends up in a place, or a man ends up in a place, a woman and a man fall in love, although they didn't expect it. It's that very typical, like, romance situation. And this is a young lady is homeless. She ran away from home, and she's working in a cafe when in comes, like, sort of the runners of the town, if you like, and she throws a drink over her because she's exceptionally rude, and she gets fired. And she's like, oh god, what the hell am I going to do now? And a big, like, an old holiday park where this guy lives, he's trying to get it back up and running, and he needs some staff, so he hires her. They end up falling in love, things go wrong, things get interesting, and it's a very easy read. These I liken to reading magazines for me because I find them very easy. I can sort of put them down, pick them up, put them down, pick them up, and sort of still know where I am. It's not very difficult to follow, and you know, it's just sort of like a nice light-hearted, sitting by the pool, sitting in the garden, chilling out kind of read, which is exactly what you want in the middle of summer when it's hot and sweaty and you really don't want to concentrate on too much. So that is it for today's video and this month's book club. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and press the big red subscribe button. And again, I will link all books, all my social medias down below for you guys to check out. And remember, there is new video content here every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday, and there is new written content on my blog every Wednesday and every Sunday. So thank you very much guys, and I will see you on Thursday. Bye bye.